Women Innovators. Interviews with women with big messages and big missions, sharing their stories to inspire you to live your passion and step up to make the world a better place. Here's your host, Tami Patzer.
Hi, this is Tami Patzer, and I'm really excited to introduce you to Jennifer Huber. Originally from Buffalo, New York, a hiking trail led Jennifer to a career path in tourism where she has worked for more than 20 years, including 10 years with a park management company in Yellowstone, Death Valley, and Everglades National Park. Business and personal trips led her throughout the United States, along with visits to Brazil, Canada, and Europe. Curiosity led her to Afghanistan, Cuba, and Japan to understand the cultures. She currently lives in Southwest Florida, and with easy access to the Southeastern US, she enjoys discovering the region's quirky, offbeat, and natural attractions. She founded the award-winning travel blog solotravelgirl.com in 2009 to inspire others to travel alone but not lonely. Her blog has been recognized as a top solo travel blog. She's been named a top woman blogger to watch and named a top 50 travel Twitterer to follow. She also writes a monthly travel column published in the Parrot magazine in Southwest Florida, and she hosts a weekly radio show on WKDW 97.5 FM in Northport, Florida. Welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you, Tami. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you here too because you travel all over the world and you go on these phenomenal adventures. And what makes it really unique is that you talk about traveling alone, not lonely. So tell me more about who you help.
Well, I help those looking to travel independently. What I find a lot of my readers are perhaps women who have been married for 20, 30, 40 years or longer, and then all of a sudden they find themselves single, either because of divorce or their spouse or significant other passed away. And they want to go out and experience life, but they're kind of intimidated to do that. So through my blog, and actually I get a lot of email questions to me, I'm helping people take that first step of traveling alone, but not lonely. I got a lot of questions and like people coming to Florida. Florida is a fantastic vacation destination, and I'm fortunate to live here. But a lot of people say, I've never been on a solo trip, but I don't know what to do. I don't know what to start. So I'll ask them what they like to do. If they are outgoing, or if they like nightlife, if they like the chill, and if they like the outdoors, if they like arts and culture. And then I kind of guide them in the right direction. But what's important, I guess, is people find, especially women, find traveling alone intimidating is I guide them in a way to make the first step by just going out to dinner in their hometown, or maybe going out to the movie, so they can be comfortable with that. Because when you take those small steps, you're willing to take another step and travel alone, and book that flight by yourself, and take that flight by yourself, and go out to a restaurant that you've never been to before where you don't know anyone, and go out to an attraction. And in fact, I came up with my tagline because I went out to I actually took a road trip. I flew out to California to San Francisco, and I was driving up the California coast and into Oregon and Washington, and I was stopping at wineries along the way. And one of the wineries I stopped at, I was actually a wine tour going from, 4 or 5 wineries throughout the day. And I was the only solo person in the van. And this couple, they're like, "Oh, well, aren't you alone?" I'm like, "No, or aren't you lonely, I should say." And I'm like, "No, it's fantastic traveling alone because there's so many benefits for it." Maybe it's a little bit selfish because you get to do what you want. You're on your schedule. You get to visit where you want. but it's also about empowerment. Um, and that's what makes me really excited when people reach out to me and say that they want to make this first step, because it's really teaching people not just traveling alone, but empowering themselves and finding the power and um, tap that power within to step out of their box, step out of their comfort zone.
So, why do you think that most people are either afraid to travel alone, or maybe they just never thought about the fact that they could travel alone? What do you think are the biggest obstacles facing most people when they start to look at the solo travel experience?
Well, one, I think we've been conditioned since people of my age. I guess I'm a Gen Xer. I'm in my 40s, but I do have a lot of baby boomer followers and readers, and I think we've been conditioned that what normal is either a couple or a family, and in order to do this, you need to enjoy things as a couple or a family. Or a lot of resorts or cruise ships or attractions, it's all geared towards couples or families. Like, for instance, you see deals that it's buy one get one free, or buy one get half off. Or typically when you've been going on a cruise, there's a single supplement, meaning that you're going to pay the same price of two people, even though you're one person. Slowly, the industry is changing because demographics are changing. But I think a lot of us, we're afraid of what people are going to think about us, even though we don't know who these other people are. For instance, if we go to a restaurant by ourselves, I know I was intimidated the first few times I dined alone. I was out at a national park out in Washington, I believe it was, Mount Rainier National Park, and they put me at this 8 top table in the middle of the restaurant by myself. And yeah, I know people were staring at me, but I knew I was never going to see them again. So I just kind of, made the most of it. But I think we just have this feeling of awkwardness that people are staring and maybe feeling sorry for us or pitying us or something. But it's not the case. And if it is, who cares? Because it's your life. You shouldn't be missing out because someone else is judging you. You just need to do what's best for you. And life is just too short to worry about other people, what they're thinking about you.
So, if somebody wants to start traveling, do you have a few tips that maybe they could do to take? I think you mentioned it earlier. They could start out by doing something in their own hometown, like going out to dinner. But let's take them on maybe a little bit bigger adventure. What would you suggest they do to get started on a travel adventure, on a solo travel adventure?
Well, a lot of people ask me where's the best international trip they should take as their first solo adventure. And I say anywhere that speaks English, because still to this day, even though I've been all over the world, I find language barriers frustrating. I have a difficult time learning other languages. I know a little bit of Spanish, but that's about it. So I recommend going to a place that already speaks English. So plan a vacation or getaway solo trip to, say, London or to Dublin, or down in Panama. They speak a lot of English. Australia, that's a long haul, but they speak English there. Make it easier on yourself, because traveling, no matter if you're just traveling over 50 miles from your hometown, or if you're traveling halfway around the globe, there are a lot of stressors. So by going to a place where there's not a language barrier, that's going to release some of the stress from you. There's also, if you do want to go to a destination where English is not the first language, take look at your local community college and see if they're offering foreign language classes in the language of the country that you're visiting. Or there's a lot of free and cost apps that you could download to your phone that could help you with that language barrier, so you have a translator on your phone in your pocket when you're traveling. Obviously, do your research. Visit a travel agent. In the age of the internet, I think we think that we're going to get the best deal if we book it online, but really there's some things that you just can't pay for, and having a travel agent right there and actually giving you advice, sharing personal advice is really invaluable. Plus, a lot of times travel agents can they have access to special perks that perhaps an online website doesn't have. Also, it's nice if something happens during your trip and you need to connect with someone, call your travel agent. Your travel agent's going to be there and they're going to help you out, get you out of a bind. Like if something happened with your flights or if the hotel lost your reservation, you have that travel agent as a backup to contact and help you when you're thousands of miles away.
That's really a good idea because I know I'm sitting here going, there are still travel agents.
Oh, I know. Yes, there are. And actually, I went to Vietnam most recently, and I actually went to my AAA office. Been a long time AAA member, and I sat down with the agent, and she helped me out and um, got some good deals and tours, and everything went smoothly, thank goodness. But I've had times where things didn't go so smoothly and had to call the travel agent and they're like, why are you calling me? You should be on a flight. I'm like, yeah, I'm not on a flight, obviously, and I need a little help here. So yes, travel agents do exist because they do provide that value, and um, the computer can't take away that personal touch.
Right. And also, often travel agents have actually traveled to these different places, so they have some insider knowledge. You mentioned apps. And
Yes.
do you have any favorite apps like for hotels or for trip planning that you could share?
Since I talked about foreign languages, I love the Duolingo app. It's free, and I've done foreign language with Pimsleur. I've done foreign language with Rosetta Stone, and Duolingo is very much like Rosetta Stone. Rosetta Stone is a lot more than free. There's nothing wrong with it. But Duolingo is a great app to have. Google Translate is also a wonderful app to have, so you can actually like translate something right there. Like I've done that when I had to go to Brazil and learn some quick Portuguese. But Duolingo actually helps you learn phrases and conversations and situations that you would be in. I really like TripAdvisor. I don't know if it's a little cliche or not, but I love TripAdvisor because you can open up the app, and no matter where you are, you can find what attractions are nearby, different types of restaurants. Send you if you have the function turned on, it'll just pop up and say, "Hey, why don't you go check out this?" Or "Hey, check out these restaurants nearby." Or so that I think that's a really neat, a great, very useful app. And Google Maps, it's kind of basic as well, but I'm navigationally challenged, and even though I can look at or carry a paper map, I always carry a paper map because sometimes my phone does run out of juice and I can't plug it in or whatnot. But I do like the Google Map function as well because I don't like getting lost and being alone. You don't want to put yourself in a situation where you are lost or in a neighborhood that you don't want to be in. So I think it's really important to have navigational device with you if you are navigationally challenged like me, and carry the paper map as well.
I think that's really good advice to have not only your phone, but also a paper map, because the reality is your phone could run out of juice or something could happen where you're not able to access the functionality of it. I think that's really interesting. Can you, what about cruises? I know for a fact that you went on a cruise because I remember seeing it. What do
Yes.
you think of cruises for single travelers or solo travelers?
Yeah, actually, I'm relatively new to the cruising lifestyle, I guess you can say. And I guess you can say I was also spoiled because my first and only first two cruises were with Viking River Cruises. And I did do the first one solo, and it was an amazing experience. Um, First off, the cruise ship company that I traveled with, they specialize in smaller cruises. So there were maybe a little over 100 people. So by the end of the 10 days, I was able to meet just about everyone on the ship. Um, and, just because the way the dining is set up is that it was casual dining. You could sit with whoever you wanted. Wasn't assigned seating as other cruises have. the smaller setting just made it easier. It wasn't as intimidating. But if you wanted to be by yourself, like there were some times that I just wanted to be on the deck and read and soak up the sun, I was able to do that. But when I wanted to be social, I could easily do that as well. And when people are on cruises or a vacation, they're usually in a good mood, or they're happy. People want to experience new things typically. So I think cruising solo, for me, it was a lot of fun. I definitely do it again, in a heartbeat. And I like the cruising part. What was neat is that you just unpack your suitcases once, and then you're in a different port each day. You have a little taste. Someone kind of explained it to me as like an appetizer. A cruise is an appetizer because you're just sampling all these cities, and then hopefully somewhere down the road you're going to go back and spend some more time in those cities. But yeah, definitely cruising solo is fantastic. Now, I will say that the downside is that a lot of cruises, they do charge a single supplement, meaning that basically a cabin can hold up to 2 people. So the cruise wants to make the maximum that they can. So even though you're one person in there, they're going to charge you the price of 2 people, because otherwise they would be losing revenue, because there isn't another person in that room. But there are some cruise lines that do have cabins specifically for single people, and then they have rates to match that. So it's nice that the cruising industry is recognizing that there is a trend, that there's a lot of solo travelers out there who don't want to pay twice as much as to what they should pay, and that they are meeting the solo travelers' needs.
Oh, that's really fantastic. I want to ask you about your blog, because you've been writing your Solo Travel Girl blog now since 2009. And so you're probably one of the very most experienced bloggers I know. And then also you are a big Twitterer. And I'm not a big Twitterer, but I know that for some people, tweeting is like it's what they do. And so if you want to, I'd like you to tell me more about your blogging, because I know a lot of people would love to start a blog or have a blog, and maybe you can talk a little bit about blogging and maybe how somebody could start that.
Sure. Well, I initially started blogging in, I guess, 2003 or 2004, and I had no idea what a blog was. I didn't even call it a blog. I don't think we knew what blogs were. To me, it was just a website to keep in touch with my family and friends. And then eventually that went away, and I started a lifestyle blog in 2005. But then I launched my travel blog in 2009 because I just love travel, and that's what I wanted to focus on. And I was already writing a lot about travel. So it was just a natural progression for me to move from lifestyle, where I covered whatever was my mind, to be focused a bit more on travel, dining, outdoors, and whatnot. But I think that the key is that yes, I have been doing it a while, I guess you can say, is to be consistent in your writing. A lot of people will ask me, or they see what I do. Now, disclosure, we already talked about it in my intro, that I do have a full-time job as well. And then I'm able to blog and actually go on adventures for my blog. But people will say, oh, well, I want to do what you do. And it's like, well, okay, you can, but it's not going to happen overnight. Yes, you can start a blog, but just because you say you're a travel blogger and you've been up for a week, it doesn't mean that you're going to be invited on different adventures or having these experiences around the world or in your backyard. But my key advice to people who want to start a blog is to be consistent, and perhaps to maybe write 5 blog posts as to what you want to write about. Think about the name. Think about, do you have the time to actually do this, to update your blog? Because there's nothing more disappointing as following a blog, and then you're really in depth and you're really connecting with this person, and all of a sudden you go back a week later, there's no post. Another week later, you go back a couple months, and then like this blogger just kind of disappeared. And that happens, life happens and whatnot. But if you're serious about blogging, get I like WordPress. I did use Blogger, which is a Google product, but I'm now using WordPress as a platform. And design, it could be easy. WordPress has great templates that you can use, step-by-step templates. I know there's some, I don't know, I won't say anything negative, but I use GoDaddy as my host. I know some people don't think having a big host like that is proper, so to say, or the easiest thing or the best thing to do, but I like it. I like having that security of being able to call up someone 24/7 if there's a problem with my blog. I like the accessibility that GoDaddy provides. There's also a lot of people in your own community, I'm sure, who are web designers, or they can host your website. The issue that I had with my previous host, and I just adored her, and she worked with me on several different blogs that I had, but I basically outgrew what she could provide me, which is a good problem for me to have, but I needed to go up to a bigger host that could handle all the content that was on my blog. So basically, again, going back and find a platform, whether it's WordPress or Blogger that you want to set up on. Really think about blogging. Think about what you want to accomplish, and you should be blogging for yourself. Don't blog with the idea that you want to go on trips, or you want to receive free refrigerators or something. Like, I know some of my other friends who are lifestyle bloggers, like someone got a refrigerator recently, and that's all nice, but I know she also paid her dues, so to say. I mean, she's been working consistently for years and years and years. And be patient when you're blogging. It may not happen overnight. If it does, that's wonderful. Chances are it's not. But you need to work for it, just like anything else in life, and just work for it and be consistent, be patient, and be honest as well. I think that's one of the qualities that I have is being honest. On my blog, I kind of use the philosophy of what would mom think as to what I would post on there. So I always keep in mind what my mom's going to think or say or something as to what I post, but I am open about different things that have happened in my life. I do obviously celebrate the triumphs that I've had, but I also post about challenges or sad times, so to say, that I've had in my life. And then for going to Twitter, I got on Twitter in 2007, so I guess, I don't know, I'm a pioneer or I'm old or something. but and I know people say, oh, Twitter's dying or Twitter is going away, it's a fad. Fortunately, President-elect Trump is he's a Twitter fan, so yeah, that could be good for us Twitterers.
I think that the reality of social media, and obviously all of these platforms are going to change over time. And yes, some platforms do die out because they didn't have a broad enough audience. But I think Twitter has been around a long time. Facebook, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest. I mean, LinkedIn. There's all kinds of tools out there. So for you, though, when you're recognized, as someone to watch on Twitter, that's a pretty big deal. It's just, and I think you said it. You said you need to be consistent, persistent, and be transparent and authentic.
Yes.
And I think those are all the big secrets. Yeah. Tell me about your Solo Travel Girls jewelry collection.
Yes, this is something relatively new, and we'll be relaunching that very soon again. But I've always wanted to have some kind of token for myself or for someone else to kind of give them the power to go out and travel alone, not lonely. But I'm thinking, a t-shirt that says traveling alone, not lonely. Well, no, because in my mind, you don't want to let people know that you are traveling alone. So I was trying to think of something that women could carry. And so a friend of mine started making jewelry, and she gave me this beautiful silver pendant. And I said to her, "Can you work with me? I'm making a line." And she loves to travel. She travels with her husband all the time. So we collaborated together, and we've created these silver pendants, and some of them have freshwater pearls in them. And basically on the back, they say, "Travel alone, not lonely, solo travel girl." And they're meant to be a token that women can wear and kind of feel empowered when they're wearing it, and be free and be beautiful. And and it's not just for travel either. I know someone who ordered one. She ordered it for her niece who was graduating from college. Her niece was heading out into the world on her own, and so she wanted to give her something that she could feel confident in. And it's something fun. And one of the pieces coming up next, I went to Japan in 2004, and I brought back a string of freshwater pearls, and I've strung a lot of them onto a necklace that I wear. However, I had several left over, and now the artist Deanna Fritz, she has DD2B Me jewelry. She is incorporating them into a new pendant called Sakura, so which means cherry blossom in Japanese. So it's a very pretty pendant, and I'm really excited. We'll be launching that very, very soon.
Wow, you're just doing all kinds of things. So you have your blog. You help people by supporting them and answering questions with the Solo Travel Girl. You have the Solo Travel Girl jewelry collection. You have a radio show. And what else are you doing, Jennifer?
I help out at the station as well. I'm doing sales and marketing, social media, at the radio station as well, in addition to my own show. But I'm also a rescue mom to a dog and 2 cats. So that's my non-work life.
I bet when you're gone, I know my animals. I always have to explain to them when I go on a trip. It's like, I'm coming back.
Yes, exactly.
Because they're like, "Oh, what's going on?" But I always tell them I'm coming back. So tell me, where can people find out more about you and your services, and how can they follow you?
Yeah, absolutely. They can visit my website, which is solotravelgirl.com. They can follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/Jennifer Huber, or they can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/solotravelgirl.
Wow, that all sounds great. So again, Jennifer, thank you so much, because I think you shared some really good insight into the fact that you can travel alone, not lonely, and then your tips about how to get started as a blogger. I think they were really good, because the reality is nobody is an overnight success. And it takes, like what you said, consistency, persistence. You have to commit. If you're going to do it once a week, you have to keep coming back once a week, because people do follow you and they do create these relationships with you, whether you know it or not. So I think you're right on target. So thank you again so much.
Thank you. I really enjoyed it.
This is Tami Patzer. Go make it a beautiful day.
You've been listening to Women Innovators with Tami Patzer. To learn more, please go to womeninnovatorsradio.com. And please do subscribe and share to spread the big messages and big missions to change the world.